Hey, what's up, guys? I just thought I'd do a quick video on using PotPlayer when you have HDR videos, but a non-HDR monitor. All right, so I just want to show you quickly my setup here. So as you can see, I have this Dell screen or this Dell monitor, the Dell 2340L, connected to a GTX 1070 Ti, right? And you can see the specs on the monitor. So it's a 1080 monitor, 60 Hertz with 8-bit colors, and it's an SDR monitor. So it's a fairly old monitor. It was from 2013. In fact, let me open up Ada here. So you can see it's from 2013. So it's a very old monitor with old specs, let's say, because current monitors have like high refresh rates, 120 Hertz, that type of thing. And some of them would be HDR, and some of them would probably 10-bit. Like I think HDR is usually 10 bits minimum because of the extended color range that it has. So this is a fairly old monitor. And what we want to do now is see how, let's say you have HDR videos on your computer, how you can play that with normal color, right? Instead of the washed out color that you usually get if you just play it with any old player. So I want to see how, if you play HDR videos, what you should do in PotPlayer to get you good colors. So I have PotPlayer here. I'm going to right click to go to preferences. You can download PotPlayer from Daum. Let me see here. Okay, so I think you can go to potplayer.tv, but on Google, you can Google it and find it. It's not that difficult. So let's go to preferences. Now, let me close this first. The one quick way to set it up so that it can view your HDR in like normal color is you can right click, go to video, go to pixel shaders, and then select this one here, SMPTE 2084. So that will correct the HDR color to normal color. You can also select the other one, the 86 one. But whether you select both of them depends on certain settings, right? Previously, I had some different settings and I just kind of needed this top one. But I've come to realize that those settings were bad, and hence the making of this video. Right? So that's one quick way to enable this. But I've also found that in general, when you play an HDR video in PotPlayer, it will recognize that there's HDR content on that video, and it will automatically turn on those things, right? But it might not. So let's see what I have. All right. So some of the key areas to understand with PotPlayer, for me at least, is general. Okay, so in general, this is normal English stuff. You read and you see what happens, like you see update stuff. That's fairly normal stuff. So general, I won't explain anything. Playback, what do I have here? So in playback, I have remember video positions. So if I play a video, like a movie, like a 2-hour movie, and I don't finish it, when I play it again, like after a week or whatever, it will remember where I stopped. Right? But I have deselected it for audio. So if I play a song and I don't finish the song, it won't remember. When I play it again, it'll start from the beginning. Subtitles, I've never really come to do anything here. Generally, the videos that I play don't have like external subtitles. They usually have hard-coded subtitles if it's like in a foreign language. And then I just press Alt H on the keyboard to show subtitles and Alt H again to disable subtitles. So in general, I've never done anything yet on subtitles. That's what I'm saying. In device, I've also never really done anything here. Although I have a computer that has a DVD-ROM. I don't even know if there's DVD-ROM things here, but I've never done. Oh yeah, there is. I've never done anything here. Right. this filter control is where things start to happen. Okay, so these are default. I've never changed anything here. So this always use has been there by default, built in, all this has been there by default. What I want to do now is expand this by clicking the plus sign. You can also go through these items at the top here. Right, so source splitter is here, or you click source splitter from the top. I'll be navigating from this panel here at the left. So as I said, on filter control itself, I've never changed anything. Let's go now to source splitter. So what I've done is I've made everything FFmpeg, right? I tend to trust this. Let's call it a decoder for now. I tend to trust it for historical reasons. There was a time when I was doing something a long time ago, and this decoder seemed to work for almost everything. So that's what I use now, right? So almost everything here is FFmpeg. The only time I had an issue, there was an MP3 file that I had that did not play well with this one. So I've now changed to this BAS one, right? But you might find on your system, the FFmpeg works nicely. You can also choose other let's call them decoders for now, for your application. All right, so I've used this one because it works with all my files, my MP3 files. All right, but for the others, it's FFmpeg. So that's our sources and splitters. Open codec, I've disabled all of them. Right. What I understand about open codec is that it says to the program, would you like me to also be able to use these things? Right. So if you say enable, or if you click enable, it means it will show up somewhere so that you can select it to be used. Right. But I've disabled this because I found that they don't work with all my files. Right. And for those that do work, they might not work that nicely. So I've disabled them. So QuickSync, I think this is from Intel. The CUDA one is from NVIDIA. I think it's part of the driver for my video card. That looks like NVIDIA also, by looking at the fact that it starts with an N. AMD, Microsoft stuff, all that. So I've disabled all of them. So open codec, I disable all of them. Video. So in video, I've used built-in. Right? All of them are built-in, as you can see. Now, if you click any of these ellipse squares, they will all take you to the same window, right? So this is the window I'm talking about. Now, that's in part because they're all using the built-in decoder. So built-in decoder come to this menu if you click the square with the ellipses. Right? Another way to get to that menu is to click on built-in video codec, the XVA settings. Right? Same menu. Now, the settings that I was talking about that I've had to change is this part here, the DXVA stuff. Okay. Initially, I had it selected, and when I play certain videos, let's say 4K videos, they were not working very nicely. Right? I changed this from 0 to 1920, it didn't work. I went 0, 3, 1, 3, 8, 3, 820, 3, 840, the 4K version. So I had the 4K resolution down here, and I had 0 and 0 down here. Still didn't work. Right. I even went to full HD. Full HD worked for a lot of my videos, but I found some did not work. Right. And then this one I also had it selected once upon a time, but like almost nothing worked with this one. So then I used auto. Some videos did not work. Right. So I've completely disabled this. Notice, however, here I'm also using built-in FFmpeg. Okay. I think for all these, it's built-in FFmpeg. Once again, it's because I tend to trust this one. Right. There may be parts. Let me see. Right. It's not here. But there's a part in this program where my FFmpeg, instead of saying built-in FFmpeg, it actually has a, you see this open codec here. It's a DLL, direct link library. So there's a part you will probably see in a bit where instead of using built-in FFmpeg, I have FFmpeg 64. Right, but we'll see that in a moment. What you should know now is in this window, I have built-in FFmpeg for all of them. Let's see. This one you don't really need to go to, but I'll click it just for now. So you see, I have not changed anything. It's as it was when the thing came. All right. Let's go to audio. Basically, if you have been able to follow thus far, as far as general and all this filter source up to video, you should be okay. But we still need to go to this video option here to see some stuff. So I'm now on audio decoder. So I have done built-in for all of them. Right. Let's see what happens at the ellipses. Oh yeah, so this is where I have some FFmpeg 64s. Okay, so for AAC, instead of the built-in one, I've selected that one. Now, the reason I've done that is because I feel like maybe this is a 64-bit version of that one, but I don't know. Right? This video that I'm making is more of a layman's version of things. So it's not very technical. I'm not very technical when it comes to this audio codecs and all that. It's just more of a higher level kind of not so technical, soft kind of explanations. So this way I have these minimum 64s, FFmpegs, and where they were not available, I just selected the built-in FFmpeg. All right, so this for the audio stuff. All right, so that's kind of it. There's nothing that I've done here or here. All right, so we're done with filter. Now we go to video. So what I've done here is I've selected my renderer as the DirectX 11. All right, you could leave it at auto. That should work for all your files. What I found though sometimes is some files might work better when this is selected by default. So it doesn't use anything else. Because I think what auto will do is it will try to see which one of these works best. And I think generally that will be this one, Alive Video, Matchy Video, MPC, and DirectX. Right, so I think that's what auto will do. They'll try and see which one of these is the best. Maybe even OpenGL, I don't know. But I prefer that it doesn't do that. It just uses DirectX all the time. I've also selected a device here to use. I only have one device that I would like it to use. So I think here, if you say suitable, it might try to also use your CPU's video renderer for certain cases. Maybe things that don't require a lot of graphics power, I don't know. But I've made it so that it always uses the graphics card. Right? Presentation is auto because I'm not sure what these things mean. I don't know if I select discard or sequential, what will happen. So I've left it at commanded auto. Here I have 32-bit. My assumption here with 32 and with this 10-bit is that if the program PotPlayer can generate as high a quality image as possible, then that would be better. Then even if the monitor cannot handle that image, it will just filter out whatever and do the 8-bit part. Right? So my assumption is that this is the quality of the image coming to the monitor. I could be wrong, but that's what I think. So I think higher quality is better. The monitor itself would decide how to handle that. Right. So that's what I've done. But as I said, you could do auto. You can also use Matchy. I've actually installed Matchy. If I come here, yeah, you can see I can modify some settings. But I'm not using it at the moment. I've decided to use this one. because then there's, as I said, this is more of a simple kind of video of how to set up PotPlayer. Right? I don't want to get too technical because I don't know most of the technical stuff. Right? So if you do DirectX, you don't have to change anything. Like if you click here, then nothing happens. Okay. It's like it's managed by Windows itself. All right, so 32-bit, 10-bit. And then of course use hardware. I think that's a good option. I think HDR is a bit processor intensive. So I think if it's done by hardware, that might be better. That's why I've selected that. Right. So that was video on the top. Pixel shaders. Now we saw pixel shaders earlier when I was talking about HDR color correction. We are back to the same place. Instead of using the right click menu, this is where you would find it if you're using this entire settings menu. Video pixel shaders, right? So I have both of them selected. I think this gives a very good color correction with both of them selected. You could opt to have like that one there selected or the bottom one. But I think you'll find that maybe when it's both, it's better. Right? As you can see, I have not selected the other two. 3D mode, I've never done anything here. So I won't even bother to speak about this. I don't have any 3D anything. Color spaces. All right. So with color spaces, what I've done is done a full RGB. Right? So I think what this means is like I want to say the bits that I used to generate RGB colors or to do this conversion, right? So the norm usually when you install the program, I believe it will be unlimited. But as you can see, the limited one is a TV standard, right? So 16 to 235. So it chops off some of the bits, let's say, that will be used to create this color. So I've gone for full, which is the PC standard. Anyway, we are on a PC, so. But of course, what could happen is you might not be using a monitor on your PC. Maybe your PC is connected directly to a TV. So maybe this is where these could be changed. Of course, multi-threading, all this other nice stuff. 50% for everything. If you click default, it will go to 50. Like if I slide this to 70 or whatever, and I click default, it back to 50. So that's what I've done there. I've also not using hardware controls. So with my graphics card, it's an NVIDIA graphics card. I can go to its software and change contrast, saturation, sharpness, all that. But I've actually decided not to use those. In fact, I'm not using those in anything, in my games, in my videos, nothing. Right? I rather let the program that's doing the thing that I want to experience to handle those settings. So if I'm playing a game, in the game settings, that's where I'll change brightness and things like that. So in this one, it's videos and music. So I let this program handle these settings. So I never use hardware controls. So that's color spaces and this 0 to 255 stuff. Let's see what else. All right. So yeah, for these other settings, I've never changed anything because I don't know what they do. And I think that the default settings are fine. Of course, if you know what they do, you can always tell us. So that's the video part. Let's do the final one, which is audio. So for audio, the renderer is auto. I think what this does is, so for example, on my system, sometimes I play audio through a Bluetooth device, sometimes through the directly connected speakers. Right? So instead of having to come here and always change to Bluetooth or whatever the system is using for audio, that's what this will be. Right? So if I switch to Bluetooth speakers, it will play through those Bluetooth speakers. If I use the connected speakers, it will go through it. So I keep this one at auto. All right, this one I don't know what it does, so I've kept it at recommended. That one also. Now I'm using 2 channels. Right? So if you have 5 channels or whatever, you can use that. I've also made sure that it's the maximum quality, whatever the system can generate. So I think this one might be even better. The 16, but 32 sounds okay. Sample rate 96. So generally sample rate will be at 44, right? Um, the recommended one is same as input. So whatever the input audio is, it's the same. But I wanted it to always be 96 for everything. Whether this has any positive or negative impact, I'm not sure. But I've never had any issues with it. Right? Then it's high quality sampling. Always resample. So this is related to like, do I sample all the time or when it's less than or whatever. So I always resample. So it will always be 96. Right? And this is the condition for your, if you select these other ones. Like sample when it's higher than this or and the PCN. So that's recommended. So of course, all these settings will depend on your type of setup, right? Some people might even have like complex audio connections on their system. And so some of these settings might work for them and all that. But I just have a normal computer with normal desktop speakers. So that's what I have. Let's maybe talk about, so I don't use these. I think they're generally not useful anyway. I think if you have like a surround sound system, it will have its own built-in, things that make the 5.1 sound better. I don't think this is something that you need to change here. Like if you have a surround sound system, I think it will have its own decoders and all that that makes things sound better, especially if it's one of these expensive ones. But if not, you're of course welcome to play around with these. Let me deal now with, let me expand this one. So what I've come, let me actually go to volume control. So what I've come to find is some videos will have a very low volume, especially the DTS ones. So I've done a preamp. I think the default when you install the program will be 10. Yeah. So I've taken it back down to like 2 because I found that to be much more better for me. So you will decide. So it preamplifies the audio so that the volume is a bit better. So that, because what happens is I would play like music at a certain volume. Then when I play a video file that is DTS, the volume is so low I have to increase the volume again. So instead of having to increase volume for videos, reduce it for music, I just preamp the video volume for files that have DTS. So that's good for me. Let's go to, so equalizer, I don't use equalizers. I think modern speakers are very good with equalizing audio. So normalizer, I think what this does is, so we've pre-amplified the video audio here. Like if you have a movie that has a very low volume, this is where we have pre-amplified it, right? Provided it's DTS audio. But what can also happen is that audio can be like, in certain parts might be like so loud, like maybe during certain action scenes or what. So I think what the normalizer does is it dampens the parts that will be too loud, like for your speakers to handle. Now notice the loudness that I'm talking about, it's not like a volume loudness, like the loudness of the volume, like when you turn the knob. It's a decibels kind of loudness, right? So, or decibels. So that's what, so it's like at a frequency level, not at a, let's say analog level. It's not there, it's at a frequency level. So that's what this is doing. It's like attenuating things, that frequencies or signals that would cause your speakers to, let's say, get damaged. Right? It's not that extreme. I'm just saying like it's this normalizing is not really controlling the volume at the knob that you turn. Like it's at a different place. So I've normalized it here so that the volume stays relatively okay for the speakers to handle. I think that's a better explanation. So you can play around with these values, but I think the default ones are okay. Now, I have not done anything with these other ones, even with extensions and all that. I've never had to. Like generally, I use PotPlayer to just play videos and music. Okay, so I've never dealt with location things or all this other stuff. Of course, associations, yeah, it will be up to you. Like maybe you have multiple media players, so it will be up to you what you associate with this one by default, right? Um, yeah, but that's as far as it goes. That's as far as it goes. So hopefully this helps you, especially in terms of HDR videos, especially given that there's so many like coders and decoders. You know, whether it's the recording from your phone or whether it's a DVD that you buy that it's HDR, or whether it's one of these internet videos. You know, something you download from the internet and it's in HDR. Hopefully, all these things help you to play audio videos. All right. Thanks for watching.